Hello, everybody. My name is Chris. You're watching Park Pass. I'm going to be breaking down some breaking Disney news of what's going on in the world of Disney, particularly Villains Land, Smugglers Run, and the new CEO, Josh D'Amaro, who hasn't taken office yet, but is about to, and he's already making some changes. All right, what is going on with Villains Land? I see a lot of chatter going on. I'm going to be talking about that in just a moment. But first, I need to talk about Josh D'Amaro. Josh D'Amaro is appointed to be the new CEO for Disney starting on March 18th. And I need you to understand how this works. Before I became a YouTuber, goofy little YouTuber, I worked in the business world professionally for over 20 years. I was in charge of sales enablement for a $2.3 billion company. I was very proud of my business history and business acumen. And I'm going to kind of be taking you through the focal point of business for this video so you can understand what's going on, what they're trying to do, how they're trying to make you feel, all of that through a business lens. Let's get into it. The first thing we need to talk about is called the 7 touches principle. In sales, it's a well-known and documented phenomenon, I guess, what do you call it, phenomenon, that in order to get somebody to change their behavior and to buy your product, you have to touch them 7 times. They have to be touched 7 times. For example, let's just say that Starbucks came out with a brand new drink called the Caramel Frittata Frappuccino, And you're watching the Olympics, and all of a sudden you see a commercial, the new Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. And you're like, what is this? And you're like, that's interesting. And then later that night, that's 1 touch, by the way. And later that night, when you're on your Instagram or TikTok, you see somebody and they're drinking a Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. And that's to be a 2nd touch. Then the next day you walk into Starbucks. The first thing you see a banner over here. It says Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. That's your 3rd touch. Then you look over here in the wall. You see a poster for Caramel Frittata Frappuccino right over there. And then all of a sudden you look up on the menu and you see new drink, Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. And then you look and you see the person there in the line. Somebody walking out of a store. They have a Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. And then the person in front of you, they order a Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. So by the time you get up there, you've seen this all over the place over 7 times. And you're like, hey, what's this new Caramel Frittata Frappuccino? I want it. And so you order it. That's the 7 touch principle. Now, I want you to think about this. Just go back, erase all that. And let's just pretend that the morning is, you never even heard of Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. You just walk into Starbucks. There's no signage anywhere. It's not even on the menu. And somebody in front of you orders a Caramel Frittata Frappuccino. You're like, what the heck is that? And you watch him walk out with this drink and you're like, what was that? But does it make you want to order it? It doesn't. You just go with your old standby. 7 touches. So salespeople know this. They are constantly bombarding you. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's like over the head. But it's 7 touches in order for you to change your behavior. Well, guess what? It's the same for humans. In order to get buy-in with a human, to follow a human, or to like a human, you have to have 7 positive interactions with that particular human. Disney knows this, and they really want you to enjoy Josh D'Amaro, to like Josh D'Amaro, to root for Josh D'Amaro. So they're doing a little bit of a whirlwind press tour, if you will. So when they announced Josh D'Amaro as the new CEO, of course, MSNBC and ABC and all those, they all talked about the new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. But that's only 1 touch. So Josh is kind of doing a little bit of a press tour subtly. And what he's doing is talking to different magazines. He's talking to different, maybe bloggers. And they're really getting him out there so that you see Josh a lot. And you got to get to know him and see what he's talking about. And one of the ways they do that is they put him in contact with, or have a journalist come, and they do what they called ride-alongs, or they also call them meet and greets in the business world, where the journalist gets to shadow like Josh D'Amaro. And this happened here recently. His name was Marcus Bellingham, and he writes for the Harvard Business Review. And he was shadowing Josh D'Amaro for a day, seeing how Josh D'Amaro works. It was an excellent piece, by the way. But there was something shocking about this particular piece, is that they took the journalist, Marcus, and he was with Josh, and they went to a business meeting. And in this business meeting, there was in a conference room with 30 different Imagineers, and they were talking about Smugglers Run. This, by the way, this article came out 5 days ago, February 12th. So, and they're talking about Smugglers Run. They're talking about how it's going to be revamped into the Mandalorian Grogu. And Josh D'Amaro said this. He told the journalist, and this is kind of opening up and showing a little bit of seams or cracks in the company. And companies hate to do that. They want it to appear seamless. They want to appear that there's no problems. But Josh did this, I think it was a calculated thing to do. He says, as far as the guests are concerned, Smugglers Run, they like it, they don't love it. They like it, but they don't love it. And that's what he said. And then he talked about, and the journalist kind of got a little bit, he got the details twisted a little bit. The journalist is like, hey, for those of you who don't know, Smugglers Run is a 3-person ride. You got a pilot, an engineer, and a gunner. It's really a 6-person ride with 3 different roles. And Josh goes on to say that basically the pilots are the only one really doing anything. The engineers and the gunners are just kind of sitting in their back seat, whatever. And so they're trying to make this a more expansive area and make it more fun for everybody. Now, Josh is perfectly positioned to understand what people want. He's been with a Disney company for over 28 years, but his sole focus has been in parks and recreation. He's been the president of Disneyland, he's been in charge of all the different parks. He understands what people like, and Josh is a fan of the theme parks. He loves the theme parks. This is really, really crucial to Disney right now. I need to show you this. So, this is what they call, keep in mind, a very light dusting of business, all right? Disney, they're going to report what they consider they're going to be their growth, their projected revenue for per quarter, okay? And they have to project a quarter, and then Wall Street's going to watch that. If they hit that projected growth, the stock's going to go up. If they miss that projected growth, the stock will go down. If they just get right on top of it, it kind of stays like this. This is really important to Wall Street, is making sure that they're doing what they call up and to the right. And I think for the video, it's that way, up and to the right. You need to have growth, and you need to go up and to the right, up and to the right. So let's just pretend this is the projected growth line. This is the bottom, no dollars here. This is how it used to be. Right here, this little green swatch, that represents movies for Disney. Movies, media, DVD sales, and that's how much revenue it would get through that. Then this here, this represents theme park revenue. And you notice the theme park revenue is not quite as high as the media revenue, but when you stack it on, guess what? Oh, look, it reaches their goal, their projected growth. It's right there. So this is how it worked. And the media was a really big deal for Disney, still is actually. But what happened? Pandemic happened. Disney Plus happened. A lot of this happened, and a lot of the movies didn't do very well. So now what happened? This is how much revenue the media was making for Disney. You're going to have to go like this. It's a little bit less. It used to be this, and now it's this. So when they put this little projected growth here, there's the media and the movies and all that is right there. And then you put on top of it, you put the theme park experience, and guess what happens? It's not enough. They're not making that line at the top. They're losing. They're not making the projected growth, and it's going down. And the Wall Street does not like that. The stock is going to drop. And one of the things about business is if you are always projecting just simple numbers, 100 million per quarter, all of a sudden the next quarter you can't say, well, we're going to only do 50 million. Wall Street hates that. Your stock, even if you hit your 50 million projected quota, your stock's going to go down. It has to be going up and to the right. So here's what happened. Disney's like, we need more revenue. They took this represents the theme parks and cruise ships and all that, and they got more revenue from the theme parks. How do they do that? Well, they started charging for things they didn't normally charge for. Fast passes, for example, magic bands, making things a little more expensive, increasing prices on tickets, all these things. So now what you do is you have this here, you have the media down below, and then the theme parks up here. Boom. And guess what? They are now making it again. They're making their quota there because they have increased prices on theme parks. So right now, Disney, their main revenue stream is through theme parks and cruise ships. It used to not be, but it is. And so that puts Josh D'Amaro in a very unique position to make sure that the Disney keeps actually increasing profitability through theme parks. And Josh really seems to understand theme parks, as you noted in that article from the Harvard Business Review. He's like, I guess like it, they don't love it. So they're coming up with new ideas. Well, this brings us to Villains Land. And there's been a lot of chatter going on about Villains Land. And I've seen a bunch of articles saying Villains Land is scrapped. So in 2023, Disney announced a new Villains Land going to Magic Kingdom in Florida. They have some concept art that was done. Now, if you understand anything about business, concept art means nothing. So when you can see people who are they're looking at every single detail of this concept art, they're like, oh my gosh, look at this. It doesn't mean anything because the concept art is just that. It's just a concept. It's just to give you something to look at when they make an announcement. Rarely does the concept art ever equal what the project was. That doesn't happen. So, but they released a concept art saying they're creating a new Villains Land. Well, there is this guy here, and I have to take a look at this here. There's a gentleman, his name is Len Tensta, and I'm not familiar with him, but he's the president of Touring Plans, and he's apparently a very reliable source. And somebody told him that the initial plans for Villains Land are being scrapped. Imagineers have been told to think bigger and bolder ideas, budget secondary. Now, this literally makes me think of Michael Eisner. Let me tell you what happened. In 1995, Michael Eisner was the CEO of Disney, and one of the things he wanted to do was attract more teenagers to the theme parks. He felt like it was too boring, it was too sanitized. And so they did a whole revamp of Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom. And the centerpiece, the crown jewel, was this alien extraterrestrial alien encounter. And they put all this money into it. And when Michael Eisner went and wrote it for the first time, he got done and he told all Imagineers, he's like, make it scarier. They had to push back the opening. Now that's a really big deal. That's very bold because when you have announced an opening date and then all of a sudden you miss it by 5 months because they're retheming everything, that's a really big deal. But Michael Eisner's like, make it scarier. I never had the chance to ride that attraction. I wish I did. People who rode it loved it. But it might have been a little too early for its time because it was very scary. Too scary for little kids, I guess. But people love that attraction. And so Michael Eisner's like, make it scarier. This sounds like to me, Josh D'Amaro coming in, looking at the villain's plan, the blueprint, and it's like, guys, we got to go bigger. He knows that this Villains Land is going to be a magnet it's going to be the major draw for people coming in. Plus, they're never going to admit this, but there's a lot of push and pull with Universal right now. Universal did their Darkmoor, and it's a fantastic land. I mean, it's a Universal Villains. It's great. I think what Disney's trying to do is they're trying to get the aesthetics of the Darkmoor, the dark universe, and they're also trying to get the funness of like Isle of Berk, like how they have little robots kind of rocking around, all the character meet and greets. I think Disney's trying to mesh these two to make it a massive land, a massive, huge Villains Land. So what does this mean? It means that the postponed date, it's probably going to be pushed back to the opening date whenever it's opened. We don't know. But right now, Josh D'Amaro, who loves theme parks, who has been around theme parks for 28 years, who understands what we want, is saying, go bolder, go bigger, make this Villains Land the best that it can be. This is a really big deal to me and a lot of other Disney fans. We love this. I also love this. Disney, I think, has painted themselves into the corner in the past with like Star Wars Land, Cars Land, these types of these great lands. I mean, they're fantastic. Cars Land is just superb, right? But the problem is with Cars Land, you can't add new attractions unless it's a Cars themed, right? But Fantasyland, the old lands like Adventureland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, you could put new attractions in there as long as it could kind of tie in with the theming. It's good to go. So Disney doing Villains Land, it is just wide open. They could keep adding to that land for years and years and years as new villains get released in movies and things like that. They could keep adding and adding to Villains Land. And Josh D'Amaro knows this. He absolutely wants to make this Villains Land 100% home run. So it doesn't surprise me that they're saying he wants it to go bigger. Not at all, because Josh D'Amaro knows that the main revenue stream right now is through theme parks. He wants to give the best theme park experience to people to make sure they keep coming back because they have to hit their quotas. And he wants to make sure that Villains Land is going to be the best that could be. I feels like this Michael Eisner energy. When Michael Eisner's coming in there, make it scarier, make it better, guys. We got to get more people in theme parks. I feel like that's kind of happening with Josh D'Amaro a little bit. And I'm all here for it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's gonna be awesome. And it's going to change the way that Disney kind of operates. Having this theme park CEO in there whose main primary love is all about theme parks, that's a big deal. Now, here's something for you to look to in businesses. Back to a business lens. When you have a small company and the CEO is the CEO of a small company, that CEO has to know every single role and has to be the smartest person at the table. They have to be. That CEO sitting there, they have to know everything. He or she has to know everything because it's a small company. As the company gets bigger, their egos get bigger and have more success. And they still want to be the smartest person in the room. They have to kind of understand all the day-to-day operations. But when you have these mega corporations like Disney, CEOs can almost always be put into one of two buckets. And we'll see what Josh D'Amaro does. The first bucket is they still want to be the smartest man or woman in the room. and they surround themselves with yes men. They act like their egos are large. They act like they know more than anybody else, and their word is law. And that's it. You get a lot of CEOs who do this. The other type of CEO, and I think this is what Josh is going to do, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Is they realize they can no longer be the smartest person in the room because there's too many variables. There's too much going on. Hotels, cruise lines, theme parks, media, food, everything, entertainment. And so what they will do is they'll surround themselves with the smartest people that they can. And then the CEO goes like this. They're like, hey, I might not know the answer, but I can get you an accurate answer because I got people I trust. So you got people who surround themselves with smart people, or they got the person who's trying to be the smartest person. I think Josh tomorrow is going to go this route. We'll see. And usually, not always, but usually these types of CEOs are more successful. Sometimes you do have somebody out here who's just a genius and crazy, and they do know the best, and their companies take off and do really well. But I think Josh is going to do this where he's going to try to surround himself with really strong, smart people. And as far as I'm concerned, there probably isn't a person smarter about theme parks right now than Josh tomorrow. He has all the experience. So when he comes in and says, revamp Villains Land, we need the Smugglers Run to be better, he understands and is coming from a position of power and experience. I think this is a great thing for Disney. I'm excited. Put it down in the comments down below what you guys think what's going to be happening. I keep hearing people saying Disneyland Villains Land is scrapped. And I think the reason they're saying the word scrapped is because Len, when he talked about it, he says the original plans were scrapped. And then I think that has blown up and people are like, oh my gosh, it's scrapped, they're getting rid of it. They're not getting rid of Disney Villains Land. They're rethinking, they're retilting it. They're gonna make it even better, which is great for us as consumers. Oh, by the way, massive announcement. I will be at the opening of Disneyland Paris, their brand new Arendelle. Opening day, actually, it's a preview. I think they're only allowing like 110 people in. It's a media preview, and we were invited. So excited. So I will be showing you that in just a couple of weeks. We'll be going to Disneyland Paris to showing you this brand new Arendelle, what it's going to look like, how Disney's retheming that whole new area over there. I'm excited for that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You guys are amazing and you're awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.